Welcome back. In this video, we are going to look into the members functionality. So let's look at a specific card, and here we can select members now. So you can see I want a new dialog to open up, as we can then select multiple members who are added to this particular card, or not added, but responsible. I think that's the better word. So here, of course, we are not finishing the functionality yet because there's a lot to do, but we are adding this feature here, at least this dialog for now, where we can then see the individual members. Okay, so I think let's just get started with this without further ado. So the first thing we need to do is add a new constant, dimensions, all the standard stuff, right? Okay, so let's go over to our constants kt. Here we are going to need a new const val select, which will be the string that's gonna say select, and then const val unselect, which will be a string that says unselect. Then we need a dimension, and in this case you don't need to download the latest dimension file because it's really just one dimension that we need to add here. So in the values, let's go ahead and add the dimension, which will be the following. So it just says item selected member image size, and that's 45 dp. All right, the next thing is that in the members list items adapter, I would like to add the functionality to be able to click on it. Okay, so what we need therefore is an interface. So here, interface on click listener, and it just has one function, which is the on click function, which needs the position, which is an integer, and the user, which is a user. And then finally the action that we want to do. So action, which will be a string. Next, inside the onBind view holder, here I will add a check if model dot selected, and by the way, model is of course our user, and selected is a new property that we need to add. So go over to your model called user. So here models user, and here you will need to add this boolean saying var selected boolean equals false. Okay, so the idea is that the user can be selected inside of a card, or he can be unselected, and that's what this variable will take care of. And now we can use selected. So we have the user here now, and then we can go back to our members list, items adapter. So here, so if the model is selected, then I want to make a change to my item member layout, which we haven't created yet, I think. Well, we do. So there it is, item member. So here I'm going to adjust item member a little bit. It's not much, but what we will have here is just a little tick box at the right hand corner. Okay, so at the very right hand side, I want to have a little tick box here, which is going to be just here. All right, so it's going to be this image view, the one that we have used before, right? So here, IV selected members, I'm going to call it, and we're going to use the vector underscore white done, I think. Let's see if it's that one. Yeah, just a little tick box here, but actually maybe in a different color, so maybe it should be something blue. So let's go ahead and create a new vector here. So new vector asset, and this one was, I see, vector color accent underscore done 24 dp, and the difference is that we use a different color here. So here I want to use the color that we used for our accent color. So here, let's go over to colors, and the accent color is this one here. All right, so let's go ahead and create a new vector, which I'm gonna call like so, and it should have the color as we see there, 0 C9 9 0 F1. Let's choose that one and create it. Okay, so now I want to use this color, right? So here, not white done, but vector color accent done. So now inside of the adapter, we can talk to this element. So holder item view IV selected member dot visibility is set to visibility dot visible, or is it view? Right, it's view dot visible. And then alternatively, in the case that it's not selected, it should be invisible. So here, else, pretty much this code, but it's gone. And then the whole thing should have an item on click listener. So we prepared this on click listener interface here, and now I want to use it. So here, holder dot item view dot set on click listener, which is checking if we have an on click listener. So on click, well, we need to create this variable therefore. So let's go ahead and create an on click listener variable at the very top here. So not there, but here, private var on click listener, which is an on click listener nullable. And I'm gonna set that to null at first. Let's see. Okay, the error disappeared. And now I can check if on click listener is not equal null. Then let's check if the model is selected. And if it is selected, run the on click event with all of the details. So we need to pass in the position, the model, and then the details about the action. So position, model, which is the user, and then constants dot unselect. And otherwise do the opposite. So here pretty much do the same on click but with select. All right, and next we need to get this dialog here. So here, this dialog where you can see we have select member, and then we have two, or a recycler view with two items which are of type member, or which are of a type that we have used before, right? So for this one, see it as a little challenge. Try to build it yourself. I will just paste the code in here. I will go over the code, and then you can of course pause the video now and try to build that yourself, because we have done that at multiple points. For example, here when we select members, these are the items that we want to use. So this is how an item looks like, right? And then when it comes to the dialog, this is how you can have a dialog. So this is the recycler view that you see here should just not use the items as the colors, but the items as those members that we have just seen. So it's basically combining those two things that you have just seen into one. All right, so this is a little challenge for you. Try to do that yourself. All right, so there it is. A members list dialog. It's an abstract class. We need the context, we need the list of users, and we need the title. And then it inherits from dialog. So pretty much the same thing as our other dialog that we prepared before, which is the label color list dialog. So it's very similar. A lot of stuff is the same. You can see here we also need an adapter. Well, this time it's a different adapter. It's our members list items adapter. Then we have an onCreate method where we inflate the layout that we use, which is our dialog list layout. then we have the content view that we need to set. We set cancelable on touch outside to true, set cancelable to true, and we set up our recycler view, which is this function right here, which needs a view. Then it can set the title of that view. And then if the list is not empty, which means if there are entries inside of the list, then we fill the RV, which stands for our recycler view. Layout manager should be the linear layout manager. So here, by the way, this is the dialog list that we had used before, right? So we have select, then a separator, and then the recycler view, and we reuse it. So we don't need to build a separate XML file for that. Then we set the adapter, being a members list items adapter, which is this adapter that we just looked at a couple of minutes ago. Then we set the adapter to be the adapter of the recycler view. And then I want to have an on-click listener for that adapter, and therefore I need to implement this function inside of my members list items adapter. But let's look at what is happening here. So we're creating an object of the members list items adapter on-click listener, in which we override the on-click function. So we implement the interface here called on-click listener, which is this interface right here. And then we have the on-click event, which dismisses the dialog itself, and then it calls the on-item selected, which is this abstract function of our members list dialog. So this function as we have it here. Now let's implement the set on-click listener. And we need to do that in the adapter, which means in our members list item adapter. So here, let's create this set on-click listener function. And it needs an on-click listener, which is the one from our members list items adapter class. And here we just need to say that this on-click listener is the on-click listener that is passed to us, which means the on-click listener that we have prepared here in our members list items adapter class, which we set to null first, and now we set it here with this function. Once it's called, then we can use the on-click listener with its on-click function. So that's how everything is connected, but that's nothing new. We have done that multiple times before. And then the error disappears here as well. All right, and at that point, we of course need to go to our card details activity, because that's where we are at that point. So this is the card details activity, right? And we want to do something once we click on this element here. So once we click on select members on this text view. And in order to do so, we of course need to have a function for that. So let's go ahead and create a new function for it, which is going to be private fun members list dialog. And it first of all needs a variable called card assigned members list, because we need to know who are the members that are assigned to us, and that's board details dot task list. And what did we have it here? Cards and so forth, all the way up here, dot assigned to. Okay, so it's the members were assigned to this card, and then we can check if there are any members assigned to this card or not. So is the size greater 0? If that's the case, then go through the list of members. So for I in m member details list dot indices. So go through all of the members that you have, and then for j in card assigned members list. So we have a for loop within a for loop. So we go through all of the indices, and in there we go through all of the members inside of the members detail list, and then we check if the m members detail list at the position I dot id is equal to j. So the individual members list element, or the member that is assigned to it. And if that's the case, then activate it. So members details list I dot selected is set to true. Okay, so what's happening here? This is a little complicated maybe. So first of all, we check, do we even have any members in the list? If that's the case, then go through all of the members in the list. Then check, or then for every single member in the list, check for its ID if it's the same as the member that is assigned to the card. Because we have the people who are assigned to the card and we have the people who are assigned to the board. Okay, so we check, are there people who are inside of the board who are assigned to the card, and if they are the same, then make them selected. Alright, and else, which means here, else of this if block here, we will just say, okay, for all of the members in the indice, let's set them to false. So here, false. They're not selected. So if no one is in the list of people who are assigned to the card, then no one is selected. So that's basically what this code here says. All right. And now, of course, our text view, select members, should be clickable. So how do we make something clickable? Well, we add an onClick listener to it in the onCreate method, for example. So here we can just say TV select members set onClick listener, in which we basically just want to call members list dialog. So this function that we just prepared. All right. And now if we want to display the dialog, we of course need to add that to our members list dialog because we just prepared everything here. But in order to actually display the dialog, we need to create an object of it. So object member list dialog. And when we need to create one of those, we need to look at what we need. So here we need the context, the list of users, and the title. All right, so let's pass in the context, which will be this. Then the list of members will be members detail list, and then the title. And there I'm going to use a resource, which I'm gonna call string select member. So let's go to our resources, values, strings, and add it here. So string name str select member, and it should be select member. Okay, now going back to our card details activity, the error should disappear. All right, there we are. So this will be the title of our members list dialog. And then of course we need to implement its functions, because if we look at it, our members list dialog needs to implement the onClick event. So here implement members on item selected. It's not really onClick, but it's the on item selected, because if we look at our members list dialog, we had this function here, which was an abstract protected function where we said, okay, it's called on item selected, and if it's abstract, it doesn't have a body, but you need to implement the body once you use this class here, this members list dialog class. Okay, so what do we want to do in there? Well, that is something that we will need to do later on. So implement the selected members functionality. That's what we'll need to do later on. But for now, what we want to do is to actually show this dialog. So to show this list dialog, or alternatively list dialog.show. I think that works as well. Okay. If we now test this and go over to the card and click on select members, we can see that this dialog opens up. We have Bart and we have Homer, but of course nothing will happen as of now. All right, then there is one last thing that I want to do real quick, and that is to add a recycler view here to the members. So once we have selected people, we want to see them inside of this activity here, inside of the select members text view. So instead of displaying a text view, I want to display a recycler view here with all of the different members who are assigned to this card. Okay, so in order to do that, I will need to create a new XML file. I will need to adjust our XML file called activity card details, which is this one here. So here we had this design where we can see select colors, select members, and so forth. And now select members, that's where I want to make changes. So just underneath it, I will add a little recycler view. Okay, so here on top of due date, underneath our select members, that's where I will put this recycler view that you can see here. All right, so it's this one here. RV selected members list, match parent and width, wrap content and height, use dimension card details value margin top that we have used before, and visibility is set to gone and tools visible is set to true. So you can see now this is the recycler view that we want then to have. And then I want it to have a specific look, and therefore I prepared the layout file as well. You can just download it or you can type it in. So it's going to be the item card selected member XML, for which we will need a little image called IC add member. And if you want to use the same image as I do, you can go to File, New, then Vector Asset, and select this add icon here, and then select the color C90 F1 that I'm using here, and basically press next and finish. And then you should have this IC add member. Of course, you will need to call it that way as well. All right, and the idea behind this is that we want to display two image views. So circle image views inside of our linear layout. One circle image view per user that is assigned to a card. And then another circle view, which is going to be our plus icon, which indicates that we can add more people to this card. So that's the idea behind this plus icon right here, and in general behind this item card selected members, even though it just looks like it's this little icon, but it will be two icons next to each other, or even three, or however many members you will have assigned to the card itself. All right, so that's it for this video. We will of course implement the functionality behind those buttons later on. So see you in the next one.